If you've got a Bosch cordless 2-in-1 vacuum like this, and it's not picking up as well as it should do, or as well as it was brand new, then I'm going to show you how to clean and maintain the vacuum, and to hopefully get the suction back to where it should be, and to make sure that in the future, the suction is as good as possible. Just before I start, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, just give us a quick thumbs up. A couple of things I'll be needing today. First of all, I've got a damp microfiber cloth, and I've got a dry microfiber cloth, and I've just got an old paintbrush. But first of all, before I start doing anything, I just want to pop some newspaper down, just put on an old bit of newspaper, because this area might get a little bit dirty, and if I can save some of the cleaning afterwards by putting a piece of newspaper down, then that's always going to be a good thing. So really, first thing we need to do is to take the 2-in-1 part off, and to take that apart. And what we're going to do is to empty the bin. So if we just take the filter out, as you can see, that's had quite a bit of use, but we're going to get that nice and clean in a bit. And I must say this design is actually really good, because it just enables you to pull the filter part out. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and empty the bin, because as you can see, there's quite a lot of dirt in there. But really, before I start to tackle the bin and cleaning the filter, because all of that is really dirty and dusty, I want to concentrate on the main body of the vacuum first, and the tools and the main brush bar. So while I'm talking about the brush bar, this is really easy to take out. All you need to do is just pull that out. And as you can see, there is some hair wrapped around here. So this, I suppose, depending if you've got members of the family that have got long hair, if you've got pets, then sometimes this can get a little bit clogged up. This is one of our demo models in our showroom. So clearly at some point we've had customers in with long hair. That's where this has more than likely come from. But all you need to do is just take some of that off. If you have got a lot of hair, then what you can do is you can use a knife or scissors, because Bosch have very cleverly put a little channel in here. Well, there's a couple of channels, one on either side. So you can just pop a knife or scissors along there, and then that makes it a lot easier just to get the hair off. And once you've done that, then I'd just recommend get a brush and just give it a brush down. So that is looking a lot better already. So what I'm going to do is, as I clean things, I'm just going to pop them to one side, because what I don't want to be doing is to get everything nice and clean, pop it to one side, and then get it dirty again. A couple of other tools and accessories that it comes with. First of all, you've got this brush, and all I'd rather do is just have a look to see how dirty it is. So this has been used a little bit, so just get a brush and just give it a bit of a brush down, and then just give it a wipe with the damp microfiber cloth first, just to make sure that that's nice and clean. And then we've also got the crevice tool, and depending on which model you've got, if you have got this particular model, this is the Zoo or the Pet model, then this has got a flexible crevice tool. This is really good for getting down the side of your seats, or if you've got, say, a car seat, then it just allows a bit of flexibility to get into those hard to reach areas. And with this, all I'd recommend is just have a look down, just to make sure there are no blockages inside. And if that's all good, then just give it a wipe down with the damp microfiber cloth to start with. And then once you've done that, then just give it a wipe with the dry microfiber cloth to make sure that is nice and clean. So now we've got the two tools and accessories. Let's just give that a wipe down as I'm holding the dry one. There we are. So they're nice and clean. I'm just going to pop those to one side. So all I wanted to do was to take it apart a little bit more. You have got a button on the back there, so if you just press that, and then the main floor head detaches. And with this part, so with the main, I suppose, handle and the main body of the vacuum, all we need to do, just put that to one side, is just give it just have a look round, just see how dirty it is. Overall, this one isn't too bad. It's one I suppose we try and keep these well maintained and clean in the showroom, even though some of these are demo models. But once you've had a brush down of it, just give a quick wipe down of the handle. I suppose especially if you're using the vacuum quite a lot, then just give the handle a really good clean as well. There we go. So just make sure at the bottom here, so you want to make sure that's nice and clean as well. and also on the inside there, because that can get quite dirty. So that's that part done. And then when it comes to the main floor head, then this can be a little bit more challenging. So as you can see, it's had some use. I'd just recommend giving it a brush down. Now it's some of these jobs that you can do outside if you're not in a very well ventilated area. There we go, that's looking quite a lot better. There we are. And then just give it a quick wipe over just to finish it off. There we go. So let's just put this to one side again. So I've left the dirtiest bit till last, and I have just emptied the bin to make sure there's no rubbish in there, but nevertheless it still needs a really good clean. And here we are. So that's the filter that we're going to give a really good wash, and that's the parts of the filter that really need to get rid of a lot of that rubbish. So I'll just clean the handle first, and all you need to do is just have a look around, just see if there is any dirt and dust, and overall on this part it's not actually too bad. So just give it a bit of a wipe down. You don't want to get any of these bits wet, so some of these bits I'm going to wash in a moment, but this area you certainly don't want to get wet. So just make sure that's just wiped down with a cloth, and then we'll just dry it off afterwards. And because that's nice and clean, I'm just going to pop that behind to make sure that doesn't get dirty again. So this is really where we come down to the dirty bits, and all I want to do is to just give that a brush out first of all. There we go, just try and get rid of the worst. And I'm just going to do the same with both parts of the filter as well. So this is really where you ideally should be doing it in a well ventilated area, because it can become a little bit dusty. There we are, so looking a bit better there. And on this vacuum it is a 2-part filter, so just give that a bit of a brush down to get rid of the worst. And I suppose with that there's not a huge amount I can do as far as brushing, although nevertheless just giving it a quick brush is going to help me. But the next stage really is to start washing some of it. If you follow me on YouTube for a while, and if you've watched some of my other cleaning videos, then you'll know that this is the ever famous squeaky tap. Have I got it sorted yet? Nope, it still squeaks. But nevertheless, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to wash some of these. So it is really important that if you're washing another bin on a different cordless vacuum, just check to make sure there are no electrical connections, because what you don't want to do is to damage the vacuum. And things like this won't be covered under the manufacturer's warranty if it's not recommended to get these things clean. But even just a quick rinse, and what I'm going to do is to just use the microfiber cloth to go in here, just to make sure that is nice and clean. So some of these, I suppose, where you're really washing them properly, it is recommended just to let them dry. So you can dry them with another cloth or a towel, but it's always better because there will be some little nooks and crannies that you probably can't get into, so just make sure it's completely dry. And the next one I'm going to wash is the filter. So I'm not quite sure if it recommends to wash this in the instructions, but nevertheless what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it is completely and utterly dry before I put it back together. There we go. So that, just a quick rinse, and that's looking a whole lot better. Just get the cloth to give it a wipe round. There we go, so that's the damp cloth. It is recommended to just have a look and make sure all of the seals around the edges are completely free of any dirt or dust. So that's the damp one, and now we're onto the dry one. There we go, looking a whole lot cleaner. And the next one to clean is this one. So this doesn't look quite as bad, but it does say on there that it can be washed. Squeaky, squeaky. There we go. So that is looking a lot better. Now, there's not really a huge amount I could do with that. Let's just try and get rid of the majority of it. But when you clean any filter like this, or even the foam filter, it is recommended to leave this for about 24 hours before you put it back in the vacuum, because what you don't want to do is to put it back in the vacuum, then start to vacuum up with it, already damp or still damp, because you will find it will damage the vacuum, and that will definitely not be covered under the manufacturer's warranty. I'm going to leave that to one side to make sure it's completely and utterly dry before I put it back together. The other thing, I suppose a good tip, is when you purchase a vacuum cleaner, whether it's corded or cordless of any brand, if you have got washable filters, then personally I'd recommend buying a spare set of filters like this, because what that could mean, while I'm letting that dry on one side, then I could put the other set of filters in, so you're not losing any time where you can vacuum. Then the final bit to clean is the foam filter. And with that, so it's nice and easy. Just get a bit of a squeeze. I don't know if you can see, some of the water coming off there is quite brown. It's not been cleaned for a while. There we are, looking a whole lot better. And the main advantage of keeping your vacuum cleaner well maintained is hopefully the suction will be a lot better, especially if you're cleaning the filters and also the main parts of the working parts of the vacuum cleaner, but also just looks smarter. So there we go. So looking almost as new. So as with the other filter, I'm going to leave this to one side to make sure it's completely dry. So what I want to do now is just to start to tidy up. This is the advantage of using some newspaper. The majority of the dirt and dust has fallen onto the newspaper, so I can just go and bin that. Obviously there are other parts that have just landed on the worktop here, but at least that's saved me quite a lot of effort when it comes to the cleaning up process. So now that everything is dry, I can start to put the vacuum cleaner back together. And what I want to do is to put the main body back on the floor head. So that's that part done. And what I want to do is to start to put the two-in-one part back together. So let's just bring all the parts over. So first thing I want to do is to just pop that. So put the filter back together like that. Look at that, looking so much cleaner. And the performance of the vacuum now, when you've got a nice clean filter like this, will be a lot better. That just drops back in there like that. And there we go. So all put back together. So that just clips back in. So just a couple of final bits to do. And all we need to do is just to pop the main roller brush in at the bottom. Just round the back here. Where I'll put the tools. So just bring that down to show you. So we've got the brush that just drops in there like that, and then the final piece is going to be, there we go. So this is the long crevice tool, or flexible crevice tool, depending on which model you've got. Once that's in there, just slot it back, then we're done. Hope you found it useful and interesting on how to clean the Bosch 2-in-1 cordless vacuum cleaner. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up, click subscribe, leave any comments below. I always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad, about the video. If you've got any questions on the vacuum, then it's one we use in our showroom, then just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Also, if you have got a Bosch 2-in-1 cordless vacuum like this, then let me know what you think about it, because I'd always appreciate the honest feedback, whether it's good or bad. Anyway, thanks for joining me today.